Welcome back to another Founder Spotlight edition here with Herbal Profiles. Today I got a very special guest, one of the first THC infused beverages I had, a local guy here to South Florida, Aaron Nosbisch of Brēz. Welcome, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. Man, I'll tell you what, you write some of the most informed and awesome content about our space, and you've been doing so from the inception of this space. So I'm grateful to be on your show today, and I'm grateful to keep, propagating the good news about this category.
Awesome. Thank you for those kind words. So, you began your journey at a pretty young age with Vision Again clothing. Since then, you've done a few different things with quite a bit of success from an entrepreneurship standpoint. So, throughout your career, what were some key milestones that have shaped where you are or how you got to where you are now?
Dude, I've never been in an interview where someone named my first company, so I appreciate you calling that out. But yeah, like you said, Vision Again was my first e-commerce company when I was 13 years old and 30 now. So I've been in the game for a traditional long period of time. But I started, for key moments like getting into the game that early, like understanding, back then it was Big Cartel and MySpace, and we did endorsements and sponsorships rather than influencer marketing. So, I've been able to just like I'm very grateful for that moment of getting in the game so early, really starting to understand the internet, really starting to understand social and e-commerce, and being able to watch that progress this whole time. And I think that's been instrumental in our success of Brēz today, and with Lucid as well. I think that was a key moment. I also, I was the CMO of a company called Monk, MONQ, which was an early D2C brand that was very successful. I really learned about need states and emotional states and helping people achieve, their desired state of mind or the feelings that they're looking for in safe and efficacious manners. And so I learned a lot about marketing and branding and positioning to help people to facilitate those moments. And I think that was really also instrumental. And then finally, I started a CBD brand in 2019, right after the Farm Bill got signed. And that really got me in the game of hemp early on before a lot of this THC movement happened, which allowed me to really understand the intricacies of the hemp space as well as marketing in the hemp space. And that was a key moment in my career that prepared us for our success here at Brēz today.
Yeah, so you mentioned Monk, you scaled that from about zero to 15 million in annual revenue. It's pretty impressive. So what were some of the challenges that you faced during that time period and ultimately to successfully overcome them?
So exactly. Monk scaled very quickly, and nowadays you hear D2C brands scaling to 100 million or these large numbers, but back then it didn't really happen. Back then, D2C brands like going 0 to 15 million a year was top tier. Like that was some of the best of the best. I think we were the top 50 fastest growing companies 2 years in a row at that company. And what I really learned there was a lot of the initial compliance requirements for advertising a traditional products. So Monk was a portable aromatherapy diffuser. We used a vaporizer technology and we put essential oils in it rather than nicotine or tobacco. And so I tried to advertise that on the Meta platform, and I got a lot of pushback saying, hey, you can't advertise vaporizers and e-cigarettes. And I wrote a very stern letter to Meta and their support, as well as I think I found Zuckerberg's email and sent him an email as well. And he didn't respond. But, I learned through that process that if you really understand the compliance rules and you understand how your product fits into them, you can find a path of compliant and effective advertising. So, I wrote those emails, and when they first didn't want us to advertise on the platform, they agreed with us that our product was not an e-cigarette nor a vaporizer, that it was a new type of category, it was a new type of product, and they facilitated our advertising on their channel. So that was really a key moment that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that these policies are just that, policies, and that they have opportunity for innovation or even compliance or within them if you look closely. And I think that was very critical to all of our success at Lucid and Brēz on the CBD and THC and hemp marketing aspect of it, hemp advertising.
I love that. So, you spent that time reaching out to Meta support and building some relationships there and figuring out how to navigate the compliance issues, which I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, probably led into you founding Lucid, which obviously is one of the largest advertising agencies as it pertains to what you guys like to call conscious compounds. So psychedelics, mushrooms, THC, CBD. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
was there? Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely instrumental. It's like when I learned with Monk that like if you really understood the policies that you could write new policies or expand on those policies or fit into them existing. That was really critical to, our success at Lucid. Like you said, Lucid's now become the largest cannabis social advertising firm in the world. We run somewhere between 75 and 95% of all cannabis related ads on social media, which primarily is around hemp. Hemp is really the first mode of cannabis that is mainstreamly accessible for the nation. And so having that understanding and have those relationships allowed me to really understand the policies that they were implementing for CBD and hemp and find a path that allowed us to compliantly advertise for a large swath of the industry. And to this day, that's exactly what Lucid does. And those learnings also helped, and we continue to develop and expand those, help to create more and more effective advertising methods and tactics for Lucid. And then we kind of took that even further with Brēz. Brēz allowed me a very firsthand personal experience with navigating the compliance dimensions that we had created or had worked with Meta to facilitate, and allowed me to really understand new opportunities, which then we pass down to the category as a collective through Lucid. So that way all of us can succeed. Like a big principle of how I think about this is like, we really need more people understanding the therapeutic benefits of these products. And the faster that we can get these therapeutic products in people's hands, I think the higher chance we have of influencing national policy, because people is really where the power. It's not with these politicians. It's not, it's easy to think that because they're the ones who quote unquote make the rules, but the people are who actually influence, and the size of the market and the jobs that market employs. That's what our core belief is really what influences these policies ultimately. So our goal with both Lucid and Brēz is to maximize access to these therapeutic and safe compounds in a safe way that prevents minors from having access to them, so that people can benefit and that policy can evolve.
You mentioned 75 to 90% of all cannabis ads are run by Lucid. Obviously, with that comes a lot of deep knowledge into the different platforms, as well as insights into these different organizations as well, to a certain extent. So what advice would you give to other founders that may not have those resources from day one with their own companies, and how would they overcome that?
Absolutely. I think for advertising specifically, you're looking to keep your accounts very healthy, and you're looking to use hemp language. The top line policy is that Meta allows and facilitates hemp language and hemp products. They're not too eager to promote THC and CBD. And so I think the key aspect to know is that, don't try to launch ads that say THC and CBD. Try to launch hemp ads. Try to launch, and more importantly than that, I think, is keep your account healthy. Find partners who have experience with keeping their accounts healthy, with doing effective direct-to-consumer advertising. And work with them, or work with Lucid. The other aspect I'd say is like, really focus on your vision. But something that I think we did well with Brēz is my partner Avin. So I founded Lucid and I brought some partners into it. And my partner Avin, now he runs Lucid as CEO. So I'm out of the day to day. And what that allows me to do is, I know these strategies that I've helped create for the broader industry, but it's allowed me to stay focused on my vision and come up with net new opportunities, which then I can pass some of that information over to Brēz or to Lucid so that they can disseminate it across the category. But I think that one of the big competitive advantages with Brēz is that I'm constantly focused on net new opportunities. So something I would advise other founders in the space is like, look for innovation opportunities within digital marketing, and you don't need to be as experienced as we are to do that. Like, there's a lot of opportunities for creative marketing and distribution available on the internet. But if you're always chasing the tail of the brand to the right or left of you, you're going to kind of get into a loop when you really need to be looking for net new opportunities and trust that that's good for your brand and good for the category altogether. So that's what I would say is, those are the base level things to look out for. Finding a good partner that you can trust, whether that's Lucid or successful direct to consumer advertisers of the past, and take the principles. I'd also say, like, we're very open books on a lot of these strategies. I post a lot of videos in the past that really spell out how to do this stuff. And we're not trying to gatekeep here. We're trying to share access to this information. So study, research, see what's out there. Well, look at our ads, look at other brands' ads, and get an idea of how they're doing it, so you can implement something for yourself. But most important is really look for opportunities of innovation. We're so early in this category, and the internet is a very wide and big place. There's a lot of places and opportunities for distribution. But if you're always focused on your competitor, you're going to be chasing tail rather than reaching for the stars and finding new opportunity.
Obviously, one of the fastest growing cannabis beverages in the world, as well as just beverages as a whole, with the Lion's Mane only version as well. So when you think about, your founding story and the mission behind Brēz, what sets you guys apart in the marketplace?
I think that we have a deep focus on curating craft experiences. We're not just trying to put a commodity in a can and sell it. We're not just trying to put THC in a can or even Lion's Mane in a can and sell it. Like we're really looking to craft an experience, which comes from a combination of formulation on effective, what we call coactive ingredients. So actives that work well in tandem with each other. That goes to the taste profile because that is part of the experience. It goes to the smell profile. But really, we have a hyper focus on curating an effect experience that is different and more fun and more interesting while being safe. And I think that at the end of the day, Brēz just hits different. And that's what our customers know and feel. And anyone who's tried Brēz knows this. And that's why I think that's a very key reason to why we're seeing outsized growth compared to other beverages and to even the category itself. And so I think a key aspect of what makes Brēz different is that it just hits difference due to a radical focus on experience rather than any particular ingredient. And that's the energy that we hope to take to future product expansion is real radical focus on Brēz being an experience curation company. Like you go to Brēz because you trust that it's going to help you facilitate an awesome experience that is different than what you can find in the market elsewhere and that you can rely on for both fun, therapeutic purposes and safety.
So you said hits different, and that's something that I have personally said. I don't know if that's a tagline you guys use at all, but it's something I have told people when they ask me about different brands, and I explain the effects of all the different ones because they all do hit a little bit different, but there is something different about Brēz. I like to call it the most social of the different infused beverages that I've tried, in terms of the fact that no matter when I drink it or how many I drink, I don't ever get tired when I drink it. Now, that does not mean that I can't go to sleep at the end of one if I want to, but with a lot of them, whenever I stop drinking, eventually when I'm coming down from the high, I eventually get tired.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Lion's Mane is kind of what separates that, or is there some other formulation there? You don't have to give away any recipes.
No, it's okay. I think it's a combination of it. I think it's easy to pinpoint the Lion's Mane as like, oh, that's what's created the difference. I think it's definitely a key factor to it, but it's more than that. It's the focus on the extract that we start with on the hemp. It's the way that we process that extract. It's the focus on like the very particulars, and going further, what makes Brēz different is like we're super focused on the experience, which is a hyper focus on quality of ingredients and technology of processing, all the way down to the finite details and dialing them to very specific levels that I think allow us to curate something that we're not seeing in the market yet. But it's not one of these things where it's like, hey, if every brand just start putting Lion's Mane, they're going to create this effect that Brēz has. And I think that what really differentiates it here is like our approach fundamentally is trying to understand our consumers' challenges and provide relief to them through a plethora of ingredients and experiences that create the space in their life that allows a little bit of stress relief, that allows a little bit of taking the edge off and having a little fun without the consequences that are typically associated with products that do that, like alcohol. And in that process of doing so, we allow the consumer, our customers, to have more bandwidth to reach their potential. And I think that's what really defines the brand. It's like we're really on a mission to reduce human suffering and maximize human potential. Like the answer is not Brēz. Brēz is just a tool to the answer, which is becoming more yourself by creating a little bit more space within yourself and within your experience of humanity to be the best version of yourself. And I do think that the Lion's Mane facilitates some more of the social aspect, but it's also the type of hemp extract we use, the full spectrum of cannabinoids that's rich in minors that others don't use, the dialed in of the processing and the technology that we use to the ratios at which we put them. I think it's a lot of these things. I think that the exciting part for me about Brēz is that like we've kind of positioned the brand to continue that journey, to continue to explore the pharmacopoeia that's available to us and innovate upon extracts and emulsions that a lot of people just aren't thinking about, to really dial in that fun, life-giving, therapeutic, experiential aspect of our brand.
So we've actually had a few different conversations around the topic of what you kind of just mentioned there, as well as need states and curating a specific vibe or a mood with your beverages. So as you think about all those things and where Brēz is now and your product roadmap as you move forward over the next few years, what trends are you seeing as it tends to shape the future of the cannabis industry?
I think what we saw with CBD early on was that people focused on the ingredient and then are focused on the compound CBD and then realized that it's better suited as an ingredient into I think we're going to see something similar with THC. I think ultimately, like the broader idea of what THC beverages is functional beverages. And I think that that fits into a category of like, you have alcohol and then you have non-alcoholic, which is a lot of the calories and sugar minus the fun. And then you have functional beverages, which is a lot more of the fun and therapeutic aspects that I think a lot of people are looking for. Now, I think what happens though in the functional space is that people get caught up in the idea of function, but they don't actually stay focused on the effectiveness, the efficaciousness of those functional beverages. And I think that's where we hyper focus. And I think so. The long story short is I think there's going to be a lot of people who continue to enter into the hemp THC market, and I think that's very good for the world. And I think that what we're going to see is, especially in beverage specifically, but probably across all categories, is more and more of a focus on broader function. And I think that we're kind of leading the charge in that way. And I don't think it's going to be the only path, but I think that people are going to realize that, there's a lot of herbs and fungi and adaptogens and nootropics that do a lot of amazing things, and that those can be very beneficial when used in combination with THC and or other cannabinoids. But that's not the only way to win. There's lots of ways to win, which is great. So I think we're going to see an expansion into function. I think we're going to see an expansion into new technologies of extraction that retain higher capacities of terpenes and flavonoids. You see this in marijuana with live resins and rosins and other forms of extractions. And I think we're going to see more and more of higher quality, more refined, more full profile, and more unique profile cannabis products alone. And then I think we're going to see an expansion of hemp extract being used as an active ingredient within a more full functional beverage or functional product profile.
And I always like to end these conversations with, besides Brēz, what other brands do you enjoy and or find inspiring?
Beverage specifically?
It could be beverage or otherwise.
I really like, I think it's 1901. Is that the
1906?
1906, excuse me. I really like 1906. I think they have a cool product. I think they have a really cool medium. I think they have a clear focus. I think they have a cool balance between the regulated and the hemp side. I think they're very cool. I'm a big fan of Gia. I think it's a very interesting product. They use actually nervines is what they call it, which is a type of herbs that affect you in a therapeutic way. And in a very subtle way that allows for a nice aperitif and it's a little bit of a mood boost, so I really like their product. I think there's a lot of really sexy brands coming out in the hemp THC space that are really cool. I'm a big fan of Dope. I'm a big fan of Cali Sober. I think those are both really, beautiful brands. And I think there was one called, I want to say it's called Golden State. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a gummy product that used some other functional ingredients in it alongside hemp THC, which I thought was cool. So, I think what's beautiful about this thing is it really is a blue ocean opportunity at the moment. We're very early. There's a lot of demand for low dose and safe and predictable cannabis experiences and just alternative experiences that allow you to tap into alternative states of consciousness through therapeutic and safe compounds. And I'm very eager to see that world expand. Like, I think that's a very good thing for society. For a very long time, society has been dependent kind of on three drugs or three compounds, which is coffee to get you up in the morning, nicotine to get you through your day, and alcohol to put you to sleep or take away your pain, And I think that's a very outdated way to look at compounds in communion with our daily lives. And I think it's about time that the world opens up their awareness to how many things have compounds that already influence us and how those could be used in more effective ways to create healthier and more enjoyable existences. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be facilitating the growth of that, both through Brēz and Lucid. And I'm excited to see our world transform through that process. I think it's going to be a very net positive thing for all of us.
I could not agree more, Aaron. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today, and hopefully we can grab a breeze here together soon after you
I
stop
look forward to
traveling.
it, my man. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much.